A riddle. The sooner you admit it, the more you will be able to achieve it, that it never can be quite accomplished, and that if you reach it, it most certainly will be undone before your eyes and by the very act of your accomplishment and consummation, since it can only be maintained and cultured by your never reaping it, for harvesting means death, while ploughing, labouring and hard work is the only guarantee of life, of continuity, continuance and constancy. So never try to catch your dream. It must remain a dream, for dreams can never stand awakenings, and dreams are all the carrots and illusions that can make life carry on in spite of all delusions, disappointments and deceptions, since although dreams are in themselves beguiling, they are dreams that never can be apprehended, and as such untouchable as perfect virgins, to be loved quite safely and pursued forever. No bounds. Forgive me that I love you, but I just can't manage it alone, and the mere sight of you is too intoxicating not to give some relevant results in crazy outbursts of exhilaration and the perfect drunkenness of beauty. Stay that way, my love, and I can promise you that I will go on loving you forever in impeccable and perfect faithfulness, to never fail you with my loyalty. Since the love that you inspire must transcend and brush aside to conquer all impossibilities. Fragile. As my love grows old, it grows forever younger in vitality and enthusiasm and power of expansion. But it is an ardent flame that must be tamed and well contained to not burst open into violent and unforeseen explosions that might consume not just itself, but even the most precious object of your worship. So take heed, and please excuse my warning that I must contain my love in order to preserve it, as the most uniquely perfect and constructive force that only can be treated and contained with utmost care. Deliverance. Deep in the night you sneak up into me to stay there raping me and stealing all my soul, but to endow it once again with the profoundest inspiration, winning me for love, possessing me both heart and soul. And still I never can get hold of you and keep you for myself, but only love you unto madness and exteriorization, like some surgic kind of surging meditation. While the only thing that I can do is just to love you, which you seem to take as natural, accepting it and having nothing much against it. Keep my love then, so that you at least, although I never can keep you, can keep something of me, which is much more than all of me. Meeting in darkness, earth hour. In the darkness of your eyes it's easy to commit oneself and get completely lost in the dissolving magic of enchantment, since bewitched by love you are not only all at sea, but even all beside yourself, tongue-tied with arms tied also, with your hands behind your back, your mouth and senses sealed, while all that you can do and voice and think of is your love. The total consummation is the total concentration, and that is how life begins. Absent but lasting presence. You say, my love, that you can only love me when you see me and I am at hand, concrete and tangible in virtual presence. But for me, the soul is much more real, more present and more tangible, and even more so when you are not present, since I cannot live without that love of yours, which constantly pervades my whole existence. Let me dream of you and keep you in my dreams, forever tangible and more so even in your absence, since I'll never let you go away from me, where you belong, inseparable from my soul, no matter how much falsely separated we may be, since all the senses always lie by satisfying mirages to please us, while the soul sees far behind reality and sees it through to see what is much truer and more lasting. Aquarius. Actually, an old poem written way down in 1984. A new dawning age of liberation will deliver us from every tyranny, since no one is to order anyone about, since only common sense will rule us all. Religions will lose all authority, and only those of them are able to survive who are completely free from dogmatism. Exaggerations and fanaticism shall disappear, and there will never more be any Martin Luther, Mahomet, no Marx, no Lenin, and no Hitler. Never more a demagogue or autocrat, and those few monarchies that will survive shall most of all be just protectors of democracy. No martyrs shall be needed any more. Self-sacrifice shall be unnecessary, and only common sense and honor shall be leader to us all. Justice shall be the supremest good in life, and only that shall be the common aim of all humanity together. All intolerance shall be prohibited by law, and those poor few who anyway indulge in it, in foolish arbitrariness, irrationality and folly, and the self-destructiveness that must inevitably follow, shall be pitied, since all destructivity quite naturally then shall be regarded as an illness. God shall not be mortal any more as crucified, and Satan shall be banished to the myths of fairy tales, and only simple human common sense shall dominate the world religions and ideals, and this religion, down to earth, of common sense, shall not include just all religions, but even every non-religion. My unknown cousin. As a revelation from above, you suddenly appear as some kind of godsend in the substitution of all dear ones that I lost, as by some kind of universal law that losses never can be suffered without karmic compensations in one way or another. Even you, they say, have suffered hardships, and we might thereby find in each other some kind of a recompense and complement each other, which we both might need. Thus a new chapter has begun, which definitely closes old ones simply by miraculously constituting their continuation. Dumbfounded awesomeness. How often does it happen that you suddenly are served with the existence of an unknown cousin who proves more like a friend, but even like a twin and sister? Once in your life at most, and there could hardly be a moment more fantastic, precious, sweet, and priceless than a union of such kind of souls of the same vein, of equal wavelengths to perfection. Love is not the word for such unique coincidence, but rather some mysterious force of destiny that brings such miracles about, which only leave you thunderstruck with gratitude to Providence, and to whatever power outside yours that you could never think of or imagine in your negligible absolute minuteness, against the universal ocean of ethereal workings, of the fathomless profundity of metaphysical enigmas of the ever-living soul. Better fusion energy, the soul shines through the eyes, and nothing can exclude its beauty, radiant and forever young and true in honesty and straight integrity of timeless worth and durability. Let us remain thus as companions on the timeless path of destiny towards no end but always forward as the best of friends forever. That is the most precious gift that never can be wasted. Trust in the trustworthiness of two united hearts that found each other, never to be separated in the unity of spiritual fusion. Your home. You offered me a glimpse of paradise, and I was struck with wonder, awe, and worship of a perfectly ideal place to live, with hanging gardens on the roof, and close to nature, although still in town, with space and air to breathe, and freedom without limits, with no ghosts in any cupboard, no hangovers, nothing dark, just openness and friendliness. And such a home you offered me. How could I possibly accept? I had to leave too early the next day, and any intimate engagement would just have exacerbated the departure. But we are still here in lasting friendship, and your home remains for the next time, and until then we can continue building our relationship on firmer ground to next time celebrate it thoroughly. Precarious validity. What do I care about what people think, attentive flatteries and criticism, misunderstandings of short-sightedness, intolerant superficiality, and hasty, violent, unjust reactions? Let them rave who can't control themselves. My only aspiration and ambition is to stick to honesty and truth in faithful loyalty of beauty, that my only aim is to take care of with my utter tenderness of worship. Let my words and dreams remain unknown to those who do not care, as long as they remain available to those who understand and love, and in their hearts are capable of keeping up their soul's flames burning for the only thing that really matters, joys that last forever. No doubt about it. Don't ask me who my love is. It's enough that she herself can feel it. Be aware that no one else is meant, and that my loyalty endures in constant faithfulness for her alone, and thus it's futile that I name her. Love's sincerity is unmistakable and always felt at heart. Unnecessary of expression, language, vows, and promises will not suffice, and no protesting can be more convincing. Rest assured, my love, that I will never with a word betray you, since there can be no impediment of any limiting or mortal kind to my unquenchable sincerity of purest constancy of love of you. The return of the native. After the Turkish Holocaust in 1915, the Armenian ambition, a kind of documentary. Back to basics in the dawn of time, to ruins of the past and memories forgotten. After many years of exile, there at last was finally a day of coming back to the original, to houses laid in ashes by the cruelties of history, to cemeteries without gravestones, and to history buried alive, together with the unknown victims of the first of Holocausts in Turkey. There could never be a sorrow and a melancholy more profound, and still there was the opportunity to start again, rebuild the past, restore an ancient civilization, and return to timeless glory of a righteous people that did never any wrong, but only suffered wrong immensely without any reason for it. somehow the dimension of the suffering of timelessness remains incurably constructive, always ready to begin anew with work and reconstruction of the greatest glory of them all, the good that never can give up, but ever and again is victimized to only resurrect and start again in ever greater and increasing glory of eternal continuity, of life that never can be quenched without resuming ever greater power. Tillbaka till det verkliga i tidernas begynnelse, till grunderna för vår historia, till ruinerna av det förflutna och till glömda minnen efter många års exil. Till slut kom äntligen den dagen då han kunde återvända till sitt ursprung, till det hem som lagts i aska av historiens grymhet, till de gravstenslösa kyrkogårdarna och till den historia som begravdes levande tillsammans med de tallösa och kända offren för det förra seklets första stora folkmord i Turkiet. Ingen sorg kan vara mera djup, och aldrig fanns det en melankoli så oerhörd som i det vakuum av de tysta skriken, i oändligheten av de glömda offren. Men ändå fanns där en möjlighet att börja om från början och återuppbygga det förflutna, restaurera en antik unik civilisation och återvända till en tidlös härlighet hos ett rättfärdigt folk som aldrig gjorde någon skada eller något ont, men som fick lida outsägligt utan att ha alls förtjänat det. På något sätt förblir oändlighetens tidlöshet av lidande en dimension obotligt konstruktiv, beredd att alltid börja om från början med rekonstruktion och arbete av det mest ärorika slag av alla. Godheten som aldrig kan ge upp, men ständigt offras och marteras om på nytt, blott för att återuppstå och på nytt begynna arbetet som ständigt blott blir härligare i sin eviga kontinuitet, som livet självt som aldrig kan besegras utan att blott triumfera, mer oövervinneligt än någonsin. Strange coincidence, you other dream that never ends, but always justifies my love, and makes it constantly increase to never stop developing, as if you always were there, while we haven't known each other more than some 10 days, and only met once in a lifetime, in a moment longer than a lifetime, of some history and truth, of some momentous imposition, since we always were there, close enough for 50 years, to never meet until this strange event of fate all of a sudden bringing us together out of chance and by coincidence. Well, well, there's nothing we can do about it but the best of it and keep it up, as may be the most rare and strangest love affair that ever came across our minds, not by ourselves but by reality, for us to do something about it, and some valid thing, of course, to better our statistics, and perhaps to lick our wounds of all those past disasters and experiences of shipwrecks, undeserved and only brought by accident and bad luck for some reason. Well, we have the chance now, and our moment is eternity, for us to shape according to our wish in mutual affection without limits. Miraculous encounters. How do two people find each other, lost in billows of eternity, identifying and remembering each other from an unknown ancient history, of nothing left except vibrations of immortal souls for recognition? It's a miracle, and the more undeniable as such, as experts even know with certainty the art of recognizing spirits elves and angels of no palpability at all. Denying miracles is to deny the facts of history and to deny the miracle of life itself. Sharing, you have caught my soul, my love, by simple charm and honesty, and won my heart for you to handle but with care. But there was never anything amiss between us, melting instantaneously together, as two old souls always do, and even sharing the same sorrows, the outrageous tragedies of two beloved sisters, representing beauty, talent, and intelligence, one mother of 3 children, and one sparkling, blooming youth. There is nothing so far that we could not share, so let us just continue sharing our lives together, naturally as it comes, and there can be no end on it. Dream burst. As I dream of you entering my mind in the still of the night and all through the glorious day, I just can't imagine how ever I could do without you, and still we existed for so long, without knowing the other existed. The beauty of the soul transcends all reality and overrules it by replacing it by its more lasting significance, while reality is only death. But dreams and love and beauty last triumphantly forever. On the edge of extremity. Of course it hurts, all those supreme disappointments, all those disastrous heartbreaks, all those deceits, betrayals, and undeserved adversities. But still it was worth it. The total commitment of your life and soul and body, the wasting of your last energy, the exposure of your inmost feelings, and the loss of everything you had. It was all worth it, since you survived and still can go on loving even more for all your loss. To lose it ever and again in the repetition of eternity, of how you cannot live without your wasting of your love on everything that's worth, all losses of your love forever to be gone and lost, to be regained forever. Curtsy. As you remain the only tenant of my dreams, my love flows on incessantly, like bleeding wounds of lust and joy, to never stop beautifying all that is to our world, of common friends and relatives, the victims and deceased ones, ever being there more live than ever, while this haze of tenderness beleaguers me to warm me up in ever greater piety towards our love that is a fountain of the purest joy. So let me keep you in my heart, for you to dwell there in supreme security, while I remain the thankful tenant of your own, completely reassured that there could be no better and no safer place for my heart to keep bleeding in tearful joy of thankfulness. Is. Det kan inte undvikas. Det är en del av livet. Isen som du måste ta dig över, slinta på och ofta falla. Aldrig säker, ofelbart försåtlig. Gjord i all sin kyla blott för platta fall. Och alltid en dag eller annan smältande rakt under dina fötter. Sjunkande, försvinnande med dig i djupet i förödande förlamningskonsekvenser. Och du måste ända gå igenom, eller flera, förr eller senare, igen och åter. Och då hänger allt på kampen för ditt liv som uppstår. Skall du låta dig försvinna och gå ner dig, sjunka och förgås, eller återuppstå kallt förfriskad om dock något kyligare? Det tar tid att värma upp sig efteråt, men då är man åtminstone erfaren. Men dock återstår det alltid mera is, som alltid kommer att ge efter, då den alltid smälter. ice. It's unavoidable, it's part of life, the ice you have to cross and slid on, often falling, never safe. Its coldness made for slips, and always one day or another thawing with disastrous consequences, as you must fall through sooner or later, and then all depends on that life struggle which must follow. Will you sink, succumb and perish, or survive, refreshed but somewhat cooler? It takes time to warm up afterwards, but then at least you are experienced to walk more carefully next time, but there will always be more ice, and there will always be more thaws. Digital love. Is it possible? Does it work? It depends on what's behind it. If it is supported by the honesty of telepathic truth, sincerity and will to make it happen, to maintain the contact and the love by thought, if physical reunion is impossible, as it is now in our case, wherefore I cannot love you any less, but only even more for digitally clumsy imperfections. The only risk, how could I possibly let go of such a beautiful relationship, which cost us nothing and allow us only freedom, carrying with it only love and strong affection that forever grows? There is no chance of getting free from such a perfect freedom, binding us together only naturally in the harmony of natural affection. Could there possibly be any harm in such a strangely wonderful liaison? Yes, there is one harm, but one harm only, that of ever losing touch with it to let it go. Separated together. As you whisper in my ear the things I want to hear, my heart melts down to tears for you, my only dear, while distances betray us and our circumstances aggravate our grievances, while our love enhances perfectly to match our chances, to perhaps one day, in spite of all, find something to unite us, while at the same time everything combines to make our separation to a very union. Fate always intertwines to force our fall into what ultimately brings us to remain withal together after all. Helpless almost. Your rationality bewilders me, your sense transcends mine own. I'm a maniac in comparison, and sick at that in mind and soul, while you appear a formidable godsend to adjust me and correct me with your calm good sense and reason. But do I have the capacity to listen and to be corrected by a better self that I did hardly make myself deserved of? It's all up to me, I am afraid, but one thing I will do for sure, to thank you for your mere existence, and to never let you go away or vanish from your vital presence in my life, as my only light to guide me in my blindness.